Hello listeners, friends, and fellow adventure lovers. My name is Morganite, and I want to welcome you to Alignment May Vary. Back in October of 2016, our intrepid DM gathered a group of 3 friends to begin a D&D campaign. At this time, we've been playing for nearly 3 years and have had scores of adventures. This program is about presenting that story to you in the style of a radio play, with all the long wait times and rule lookups removed. This is not a podcast about what our players went through, but about what our characters experienced. I play Karina, a Tiefling, which in Dungeons & Dragons lore means half-devil. She is tall, with purple skin, pale green eyes, and long black hair that she keeps tied up in a braid. She has a long tail that is nimble enough to grip things, and horns that curl up and around like those of a ram.
My name is Tyler, and I play Shando, a big man with a bigger secret. The secret is tied to a strange mask he carries. No one seems to be able to separate him from the mask, as it's been tossed into the ocean 3 times, and yet it always returns.
Hi, my name is Kayvon Barami, and I'm voicing Daymos, a young psychic who, as punishment for his crimes, has been forced to wear a magical headband that disrupts his thoughts and keeps him from using his powers. But we'll see how long that lasts.
And I'm Jonathan Stark, and I am your dungeon master for the game. I'll be providing the narration as well as some of the NPC voices. Speaking of which, our story begins in the vast body of water known as the Moonsea in the dead of night, with 3 characters who do not know that soon their lives will be changed forever. The moon shines down upon the sea which shares its name, its blank face full of the promise of new beginnings. The moon illuminates the prison ship, the Enlightenment, as it sits anchored in the sea, and illuminates Captain Tolman striding back and forth across its deck in clear agitation, glaring at the mysterious golden island that sits in view off the port side. In the 37 rotations that he'd traveled across the Moonsea, no such island had ever existed. So he'd sent his first mate Grimm, along with a few guards and a dwarven prisoner known as the Professor, to investigate, but neither they nor the ship's sole rowboat had returned. Loath to lose any more crewmen on what could be a fool's errand, he has now ordered for 3 of his healthiest prisoners, Karina the Tiefling, Shando, who looks so big as to almost be a half-giant, and Daymos, the youngest prisoner, to be brought up on deck for a second and final attempt to solve the mystery.
These are the 3? Good. Then listen up, everyone. My first expedition, including my first mate and the Professor, have yet to return. You are to swim to the island, find out what happened to my men, and bring me back something to my liking. Prisoner! Karina, was it? You look like you have something to say.
Why us 3?
Because I command it, and you are mine to command. And because if you do bring me something I desire, I could be persuaded to talk to the magistrates at the next port. Perhaps your sentences could be reduced, perhaps even expunged. You could go home. And you, boy, I'm going to take this off now. Behave, and maybe I won't put it back on for a little while.
Oh, man. You know how uncomfortable that thing was. Hot and cold, constantly changing. Oh, I couldn't even think straight. Maybe I should put it on you so you can get a taste.
Enough of that! I know your tricks. Do not say another word. Remember, if any harm comes to me, this ship is magically connected to my body. It will fall apart if I die, or if I command it. Of course, if you prefer to drown, go right ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems preferable to putting that headband back on.
Daymos turns to Shando.
What do you say, big guy? You want to take the ship down?
The professor's my friend and he's down there. I'm not leaving him in any danger.
The dwarf? There's rumors about him, you know. Some say a professor friend was a necromancer, and that's what's landed him his sentence.
He was kind to me.
So I'm to team up with a demon who's afraid of necromancy and a gentle giant? This is gonna be great.
Alright, little man. Enough talk. Let's race to the island.
The two leap overboard.
Well, woman, what are you waiting for?
Perhaps a chance to grab your blade.
You think you scare me just because you have horns and a tail? You wouldn't be the first tiefling I've killed, let me tell you. Now get moving, or I'll knock your fangs out.
Karina, thinking that it would be much easier to swim the distance to the island without her ragged and frankly disgusting prison rags weighing her down, casually strips and drops them to the floor of the ship. The crew are suddenly very distracted.
Come now, you would send a woman defenseless into unknown peril? I didn't take you for that kind of man.
Karina rolls a natural 20 on her charm check.
Well, perhaps I was a little hasty. Here, use my own very dagger. Keep it at your side. If only I could be there. And also take this potion. It will heal your hurts and bring you back to me.
Be careful what you wish for.
Karina's tail gracefully curls up towards Captain Tolman and snatches the potion from his hand, then wraps around it and her waist tightly, holding it against her like a belt. She winks at him while he stares, mesmerized at the tail. And with that, she leaps over the side, purposeful as a shadow. The water of the Moonsea laps around the three prisoners. The golden island lies ahead of them, the moonlight glinting off of it like wet silver. Karina surfaces from her dive off the ship, her hair spraying water behind her. She looks around to see the younger man floating towards her, lazing about as if they are on holiday. He's followed by the larger man, who is curiously holding a mask in one hand, the salt water flowing through its eye holes like endless tears.
How does the cold sea treat the demon? I'm surprised there isn't steam rising around you.
Quiet, boy. Don't you see your dog tags? This is a hero of the War of Forgiveness. Show some respect. My apologies. This is Daymos. He's a little excitable, I think. And I'm Shando.
I don't care what your names are. Don't get in my way and don't talk to me. We'll get along just fine.
Karina slips under the sea and swims away towards the island, leaving her companions behind.
Okay, bye. See you later. We don't need her.
Karina doesn't listen. She's off like a fish, investigating this so-called island. You see, Karina suspects it's not an island at all, but instead the domed top of a massive building, long buried under the sea. There is no entrance that she sees above the water, but she hopes there may be a way inside from below. And so she dives, the water around her dark and murky. She imagines that she can see shapes moving swiftly beneath her, but they never become clear enough for her to identify. The light appears suddenly, a beacon in the darkness. It grows brighter as she swims closer, until she can see the opening in the golden dome that it illuminates. The light is coming from a narrow piece of metal, flared into flame in one end, despite the water around it. Karina recognizes this is a sun rod, a magical item. She snatches it up and continues to swim inside. The passage curves around in the shape of the rounded building, and growing on the floor, the walls, and the ceiling of the hallway is long flowing seagrass, a bright sickly green in the light of the rod. Karina swims past the grass. But she does not roll high enough on her dexterity save, and her leg is caught tight by a strand of the grass, which reaches out and begins to pull her down towards more of it, the tendrils reaching around her like living things to wrap around her body and hold her as her lungs begin to strain for a lack of air. Karina begins to drown. Swimming down the passage after Karina, Shando sees her plight and grabs her, ripping her free of the malevolent plant, and quickly pulling her towards the end of the hallway, where the water ends at a half-submerged stairway. Shando emerges from the water, pulling the half-drowned Karina behind him. She is disoriented. She cannot tell what has her. She gets a hand free and begins scratching at Shando viciously, clawing at his flesh like a cat dropped into the ocean.
Ouch! That's gonna leave a scar. Listen, you're safe. We're through the tunnel. I've got you.
I thought I told you not to follow me.
Would you rather I let you drown?
Behind them, Daymos suddenly bursts out of the water, shaking himself dry like a dog.
What did I tell you, Shando? Woman won't even give you her name. She definitely isn't going to give you her thanks.
Where are we?
The prisoners now stand on a halfway submerged staircase leading up to a glorious room. A pair of sun rods illuminates the circular area, left here maybe by Grimm and the last party. In any case, they glint off of chipped gold and flecked silver. The room ceilings are about 15 feet high, though they can see watermarks as high as 10 feet up, showing that this room too was at least partially underwater for a long time. In the very center of the room, there is a raised stone slab that looks like a sarcophagus, with the impression of a body embossed in its lid. The paint has long since washed away from the stone, but the impressions that once formed painted eyes and mouths make it look eerie, like it is forever frozen in the midst of issuing a silent scream. Nearby, a coil of rope has been fastened to a piston hammered into the ground. The rope is frayed at one end, as if abruptly chopped off.
I've been here before. In my dreams, I've walked these halls.
That's dumb. You're being dumb right now.
No, listen. I wasn't just any prisoner on that ship. I have powers, and they tell me things.
And what powers are those? Care to show us?
Yeah, I could do that, but I don't think you'd like it. Listen, I was born in Boulder's Gate, and when I was there, my younger sister, Jade, she got really sick, and I had to help. So I found a local baron, and I made him sign over one of his larger homes to my sister.
How'd you manage that?
That's what I do. I make people do things.
If you can make people do things, then how'd you end up on the prison ship?
Look, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's not like I have an instruction manual to tell me how to do these things. Somehow, it just didn't work. I screwed up. The Baron wasn't supposed to remember anything at all, but instead, he remembered everything. He knew what I was, he knew what I'd done, and that's when they put that headband on me, that magical lobotomy. And one day, they're all gonna pay for it.
You can get your revenge later. You said you'd been here before.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Every night since they put that headband on me, I had the same dream. This temple. Every night.
Disturbed by his words, Karina looks around the large room. The water has greatly damaged the once intricate murals that cover the walls. Many of the details are now lost, except for the ceiling of the room, which is painted black with pinpoints of white and gold that are clearly supposed to be stars in the night sky. The other paintings depict an array of scenes that may have once held religious significance. Prominent amongst many of them are these towering figures with what seem to be multiple heads suspended on long snake-like necks. They have stars for eyes. Other figures surround them in various postures, kneeling or bowing or offering up items. All of them are reaching a hand up to the creatures, placing it on their chests.
What are these? Worshippers?
Or slaves.
I know this one, guys. It's a clue. That sarcophagus, we have to place our hands on it just like in the mural. Come on, you ready?
The stone sarcophagus moves easily under their touch, and beyond it lies a dark hole leading down.
Grab one of those sun rods. Let's take a look here.
Looks like there's a tunnel at the bottom. Must be where the professor and Grimm went.
Alright, then let's go.
A smarter idea would be for one of us to stay here, in case this closes. Anybody want to stay up here?
No.
Oh, so the demon wants our company.
Karina. My name is Karina.
The three prisoners move forward down the tunnel, Karina leading the way with the sun rod held above her head. The light bounces off the wet walls around them, creating a constant shimmer that makes this environment feel ever more alien. Then suddenly they exit into a wider space, a long room made up of a stone bridge without rails, which crosses a 12-foot drop into a pool of brackish water. At the other end of the bridge, Karina's light shines off of a metal plate set into the floor.
Huh. What's this?
Hard to say. There was a picture here once, but it's been worn smooth. See, you can just barely make out the indents where something was carved here.
Daymos, you said you walked here in dreams? You must know what this is.
Oh, yeah, of course. Let me look at it.
Daymos rolls a natural 1 on his investigation check. For those of you that don't play Dungeons & Dragons, that's really bad.
So this is burnished copper, which is holy metal to the people that worshipped here. The image on it was once a map of this place, and it's set into the ground because it's supposed to ground you before you set foot into the holy temple.
Karina, on the other hand, rolls a 25 for her investigation check.
He's spewing bullshit. It's brass for one thing, not copper. See the edges there? It's hard to tell, but that looks like old runes. My guess is it was magical in nature. Maybe a ward to keep the wrong people from entering here.
Do you think that includes us?
Only one way to find out.
Wait!
Shando bounds forward and steps on the metal plate.
Oh, God! Oh, no! Oh, my skin! Oh, it's melting! Oh.
No!
I'm just joking.
Don't do that.
I don't know if I'm more surprised that you're all right or that you actually have a sense of humor.
The floor slopes downward past the brass plate. Longer than it is wide, this room was obviously submerged until recently, as barnacles cling to every surface, crunching underfoot as the prisoners move forward.
It's almost beautiful. I've never seen so many barnacles.
Then you've never seen Tolman's ass.
Karina, bring that light over here. Look at this.
What is that? Armor?
It's completely crusted over.
2 suits of armor stand in niches in the wall. Daymos steps up next to his friends and rolls a 6 for investigation.
Ah, yes, this armor. It was used to clothe the paladins who lived in the temple before they went into battle. It represented their deep connection to the gods of the sea.
Ugh, he's talking bullshit again. The armor is made of shells and coral reef. You can see it under the barnacles. It's ceremonial, not meant to be worn at all.
Hey, listen, I'm the one who walks in dreams here, okay?
Then you've obviously learned how to walk with your eyes shut. Extend the lesson to your mouth. Come on, let's keep moving.
But they have not gone far when suddenly the armor comes to life, reaches out a mailed fist, and grabs hold of Karina. Its limbs move slowly, but the fingers that dig into Karina's shoulder crush bone underneath them. Karina screams, and the potion falls from her tail's grasp, rolling into a corner.
Get off of her!
Shando grabs the suit of armor and rips it free from Karina, barreling it back into the niche and slamming a fist again and again into its coral helmet. A crab, disturbed by the constant pounding, crawls from the visor and drops to the floor, fleeing from the fight.
Go, Karina! I'll handle this!
Karina dodges a blow and then dashes along the corridor, further into the temple. The armor doesn't try to break free of Shando. Instead, it closes 2 coral hands around Shando's head, then brutally slams his face into its chest plate. The plate, originally made of beautiful shells and coral pieces, has long been crusted over with barnacles that have calcified into sharp peaks and spires. Shando's face is driven into this mass of rock-hard spines. Once, twice, and on the 3rd blow, a thick splash of blood explodes across the armor's chest, and Shando's body goes limp. The armor releases him to the floor in a crumpled mass.
Shando, shit, I want to get to you, buddy, but I don't know if that thing's gonna smash me if I do.
Suddenly, the second armor comes up behind Daymos and reaches out for him. He ducks just in time.
There's a second one! Where'd Karina go?
The armor slams a fist into the wall above his head. Dust and broken stone showered down upon him.
Okay, so Karina's fled, Shando's down, and 2 armors are about to crush me. No, thank you. I think I have another idea. Let's play.
Meanwhile, Karina has been traversing this sunken, dark dungeon on her own, clutching her injured shoulder and running forward until the sounds of battle diminish behind her.
Should I go back? No, fuck it. They're probably dead.
Suddenly, she splashes into a dark pit of cold, dank water. She tries to maintain her balance, but she rolls a bad athletic check and slides off of a submerged ledge, cutting herself and dropping her sunrod in the process. The room goes dark, and Karina plunges her hands into the water, trying to find the rod. Instead, she feels something cold and slimy, and it moves as she touches it.
Oh, heck no. You can keep the rod, friend.
Karina is a tiefling. They can see in the dark. She doesn't need the sunrod, so she abandons the dark pit and runs through the next few hallways, ending up in a stone room lined by what look to be old jail cells. Bones fill the cells, and on top of one of the bone piles is a large maul-like weapon, like a humongous warhammer. She is wondering what to do next when suddenly a voice erupts inside her very mind.
Karina, where are you?
Stop it! How are you speaking inside my head?
Sorry, bad habit. We're just behind you.
Daymos' voice leaves her head, suddenly becomes normal again as he and Shando approach her in person from behind.
Yeah, as you were running away, it looks like you dropped something.
The sunrod. Did you see anything else?
No. Were we supposed to?
Shando! You're all right then.
Kid stuffed your potion down my throat. Thanks for leaving it for us.
It wasn't intentional. Don't get used to it.
Hopefully I won't have to.
Any sign of Grimm and the professor yet?
None. Daymos, what else did you see in your dreams down here?
I keep wandering around until I find something. A statue? It's not a large statue. It fits in my hands. It's green. It's made of emerald or jade or something like that. I don't know.
Karina quirks an eyebrow at Daymos, waiting for him to elaborate.
It's like it's an animal, like a dragon or a hydra. I don't know. It has a bunch of heads.
Any idea what it means?
No, I have no idea.
Well, we can't stay here forever. Shando, there's a maul in that cell. Do you think you could use it?
Why would I? I have my hands.
Oh, dibs.
What? That thing has to be as thick as both your arms put together. You'll never swing it.
Watch me! See? Not so heavy. How do I look?
Like you're going to hurt yourself. Or worse, you'll hurt me. Put that down.
No way, it's mine. I call dibs.
Daymos, please tell me that was your stomach. It sounds like it's coming from up ahead. I'll take point.
The three move forward cautiously, chasing the noise, and coming to the largest cavern they've yet seen. Stone pillars, detailed with images of the five-headed creatures, disappear upwards towards the distant roof of the cavern. Steps have been carved out of the floor, creating a layered room leading down to a pool at its far end. An altar sits before the pool, and slumped over it, blood running from his mouth down into the black water, lies the professor.
He's seen better days, hasn't he? Who put the knife in his back?
I don't know, but I will pay him back with his own blade.
Shando draws the dagger from the professor's back.
We have to bring the body back. We have to bury him or...
Dead! In the water!
The professor! He's alive! He's moving!
No, he's not. He's a zombie!
Shando drops the body of the professor. The dead dwarf reaches up to strangle him with fingers that only a week ago gently showed him how to adjust his grip on the oars, so that they did not chafe so badly. Shando's mind goes blank. He is completely unprepared for this scenario. He looks to his left hand, which holds his mask, and raises it to his face, not quite knowing why, and pulls it over his head.
I am Eduardo, el ultimo santo guerrero.
What in the nine hells?
Stand back, puny human. I shall take care of this undead dwarf. El ultimo headlock. Suplex of justice.
You just backflipped his head off!
And now, I shall kick that head back into the netherworld. Front kick of virtue!
Daymos! I could use a little help here.
From the pool rise skeletons holding crossbows. They begin firing at Karina, forcing her to take cover behind some pillars. As she leans against them, the guards sent down by Tolman to accompany Grimm rise from the water as zombies and pull themselves up towards her.
Don't worry, here I come! Haha, spitting strike of handsome youth!
Despite being inspired by Shando, Daymos fails his role so badly that he misses the zombie targeting Karina and nearly strikes her head off instead.
Enough! I'll take care of him myself.
Did I get him?
No, that's my dagger in its brain.
What is that?
Shit. Likely the creature from the other room. By all the spirits, the smell of it.
The thing stalking them is a ghoul, one that has been underwater for a very long time. Its naked body is bloated and gray, hanging in folds all around it. Its eyes are so black that it is hard to tell if they are eyes at all. There is a hand axe buried in its shoulder, and as it reaches for Karina, she rips the axe free and rolls a critical hit, burying the axe in the creature's hideous face. It swipes madly at her, claws raking across her neck, and as she reaches towards the wound, she feels her body becoming stiff and paralyzed.
Karina, oh, gross, that thing's gnarly. Get away from that.
I can't.
El ultimo santo will crush this foul creature. Pummeling fist of fury!
Shando's fists pound into the ghoul with the force of cannons, beating it into a wet, bloody pulp. The twang of bowstrings precedes the thunk of arrows as they land all around the companions. Daymos tries to pull back, but the skeletons have a bead on him, and they let another volley fly, arrows speeding for the young psychic.
My mighty form shall be your shield.
Shando throws himself on top of Daymos, and the arrows slam into his massive back like a living shield. 5 pierce him before he falls limp.
El ultimo santo.
Oh, great. Thanks, man. Now I'm alive and buried under the largest dude in the Forgotten Realms. Oh, ultimo suffocation.
The skeletons draw closer, pulling daggers from their rib cages. Daymos lies helplessly pinned beneath Shando's large and very heavy form. But just as all seems lost,
Back to the hells with you.
struggling to see around Shando's bulk, Daymos spots a man with a crossbow, firing rapidly at the few remaining skeletons, scattering them.
Grimm? Is that you?
Yes. Get out from under there and help me with this last one.
Hold on. Just let him get a little closer and...
Freeze.
The final skeleton skids to a halt as the air around it is affected by Daymos' powers. The air crackles suddenly with shimmering icicles. They create a circle of sharp, frozen knives that drive into the skeleton as one, destroying it.
You did that? Now I see why the captain made you wear that band.
Grimm is clearly injured, and he collapses, breathing heavily against a stone pillar. Daymos pulls himself free from beneath the large wrestler and shuffles his way over to Grimm.
So what the hell happened to you?
Leg broke. Fell on it while I was running from that ghoul creature your large friend beat into a mess over there. It scratched me. And I think its claws are poisonous or something. I could barely feel my hands enough to pull this trigger. The demon woman looks like she got the worst of it too.
Hey, help me grab her. Hey, Karina, you alright?
Screw her! I need your help. I've been hiding in a secret room back there. Inside's a potion. Get it and bring it to me.
And why should I do that?
Because I saved your life!
You saved my life. I don't know if you saw who did the freezing back there, but that was me. You know, I can't even seem to recall why I shouldn't just leave you here to die. Can you remind me?
I saved your...
Yeah, no, you've already said that. Tell you what, why don't you fill me in on exactly what happened here, and then we'll talk about what's next.
We found something here, alright? Some treasure. Look, you let me live, you can have it. I'll even tell Tolman it was you who found it. Put in a good word for you.
Oh, you will now? Oh, well then what's this treasure?
A statue made all of jade. It was on the altar when we got here. The professor, he wanted to destroy it, said it was evil or some such nonsense. I told him that the captain would leave us here to rot if he had found out we had destroyed something worth that much. He said we should just leave well enough alone and tell the captain we didn't find anything. I found a better solution.
Your knife in his back.
He wasn't thinking straight. He was gonna smash it. I had no choice. When his blood hit the altar, though, the water came alive with the undead. Ekblad stood his ground until those skeletons plugged him full of arrows. And then that thing showed up. And even though I buried my axe in it, it kept coming. Fortunately, it found Ekblad. He was still alive a little. Bought me enough time to make my escape. I've been waiting since, praying that Tolman would send another party down. And now you've come and we can still get out of here alive.
At least one of us will.
Wait, no!
Daymos swings the unwieldy warhammer down onto Grimm's head repeatedly, crushing the man's skull. Then, the deed done, he ducks into the room Grimm had described, grabs the potion, and lifts the eerily familiar statue for a brief but careful study.
Hey, Karina, check it out. It's the statue I told you about from my dream. Oh, but it's missing a couple heads. Huh. Well, in any case, maybe now I'll get my freedom from that damnable captain. But first, to heal Shando.
Daymos is quick to pour a potion down Shando's throat, and the large man comes alive and seems back to himself, the mask having fallen from his face and resting limply in one of his large hands.
Ugh. Daymos, what happened? The professor. Where is the professor?
You don't remember?
I remember being attacked. I remember the professor coming to life. After that, nothing.
You put on the mask.
What?
The mask, the one you're holding right now, you put that over your head, and then you became Hell's ultimate Sanchez or something and went nuts on the professor and those other things that were attacking us. You've never done that before.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Good. You are still alive.
I was paralyzed. Your conversation with Grimm was most enlightening.
Grimm is here?
With a very crushed skull. Yeah, right over there. He's the one who stabbed the professor in the back. I took the liberty of avenging him for you.
Grimm did evil things, and you brought him to justice. No more needs to be said. Let's get out of here.
The group makes their way quickly up through the caves and tunnels, back to the room with the armor.
Hey, watch that armor. It might come to life again.
Then we should hurry.
The group rushes to the bridge, darting across the bronze plate as they go. Only this time...
That does not sound promising.
The plate!
It shattered!
It was a spell after all. A ward on this place.
We didn't trigger it last time.
Something must be different. Did either of you take something from the temple?
Later, this place is sinking into the sea. We have to run.
The sarcophagus is closing.
Let's see if I can slow it down using my powers. It's like trying to arm wrestle a giant with my brain. Oh, you're gonna have to hurry. I can't hold it long.
Let me get on your back, Shando. You can climb us out of here.
Okay.
The still nude tiefling clings to his back, and Shando blushes as he starts running for the narrow opening. Just barely, the trio makes it through the opening into the mural room. The room is already filling with water, so they all take a deep breath and dive, swimming back through the tunnel, avoiding the strangling seagrass, and exiting out into the Moonsea. The surface of the sea is roiling around them as the temple sinks back down. They can see the enlightenment ahead, but it is encased in a thick fog, only visible because of the lanterns hanging from its sides. It does not take them long, thankfully, to gain the attention of its crew. Captain Tolman orders them fished out and pulled on deck.
Well, what did you find? Where is Grimm?
Grimm won't be joining us, nor will the professor. We did manage to bring this pretty thing back, though.
Ah, well done. Give it over then.
How could you take that? You saw what happened down there.
Because I'm not going back in that headband. Not for anything.
Ah, that's where I'm afraid you're mistaken. You'll be wearing that headband until the Lords of Waterdeep say otherwise.
But you promised freedom.
I promised to put in a good word. You think I'll let you walk around my ship freely when you can control my mind with a thought? Seems a good way to invite an uprising or a knife in the back. No, sorry to disappoint.
Well, I'm sorry too.
Shando lifts Tolman off of his feet.
Put me down! Men, shoot the giant!
I wouldn't do that. Not unless you want me to slit your captain's throat. And then we can all drown together.
You will all put down your crossbows. Now.
Wait, Daymos, Karina, do you see that? Something's coming through the mists.
A ship suddenly bursts through the fog, its mighty prow ramming into the Enlightenment with a resounding crash. Its flags show a painted red hand, and on its side its name is given. The Storm. Hobgoblins and kobolds leap from the storm onto the Enlightenment, firing crossbows and swinging swords as they come, cutting down the guards who fight back, and the prisoner slaves who are chained, calling for help, and helpless to
Men,
flee.
to me! Take the fight back to these monsters.
They have a bugbear!
Cower, minuscule ones, for you face Ooth, bugbear of the Red Hand. Ooth shall drink blood from your still-living body as you beg for mercy.
Karina darts through the invaders, looking for a better weapon than her dagger. She finds a kobold, gripping a shortbow.
Shortbow, now!
No! This is Kobold shortbow! Demon woman can't have it!
Karina's dagger says otherwise.
Ah!
Karina pries the shortbow free from the kobold's twisted claws and aims at the bugbearer, Ooth. And rolls her second critical hit. The arrow flies towards Ooth, and just as he turns, it strikes him in the folds of muscle at his neck. He stumbles backward, but amazingly, he still lives, ripping the arrow free from his throat and pressing a hairy hand to the wound.
Grrr! Kobolds, shoot down the demon wench!
There is a twang of bow and the thunk, thunk, thunk of 3 arrows as they hit Karina. She falls.
Coward! Too afraid to fight your own battles?
Ooth don't fight little girls. Ooth feed them to his pets.
Then try me!
Shando launches himself in a whirlwind of fists at the bugbear.
You threw a nice bunch, but Ooth has more than fists.
Oh, God, Ooth hits Shando with an 18 and deals some serious damage.
Ooth has a warhammer.
With Shando out of his way, Ooth approaches the captain, who is on his backside, scooting backwards across the blood-slick deck of the ship.
Please, please spare me! I'll give you whatever you want!
Ooth want blood.
As Captain Tolman's skull is crushed under the blow from Ooth's warhammer, the ship lets out a mighty sigh and begins to split down the middle. As its captain dies, so too must its crew. Uth and his own crew quickly disperse back to Storm as the Enlightenment tears itself apart, dumping the living and dead alike into the Moonsea. Nine days later, our three companions awaken in strange beds, clothed in clean linen.
Alignment May Vary would not be possible without the collaboration between some very dedicated people. The scripts are written by Jonathan Stark and Morganite, based off of Jonathan's original blog posts. The voice for Captain Tollman was Ben Fisher, and Eric Stalker is the voice of First Mate Grimm. A full voice cast, music credits, the original blog posts, and our other D&D and game-related projects can be found on our website at alignmentmayvary.com. We'd love to hear from you, so send us your comments and questions through our website or via Twitter at AlignmentV. If you would like to support us and our many projects, please consider donating to our Patreon page. May you savor your critical successes, learn from your critical failures, and above all, keep on rolling.
Forcing me to contemplate my various moral choices.